this is Dave with NTI Online, and today we're going to troubleshoot an ASC code on a TI series boiler. This procedure would be the same for the TI 100 through the 200 and including the combi boilers. ASC means that the Sentry control has sensed that this air switch is in the closed position before it turns the fan on. And if it's in that position, the control cannot safely engage ignition because we don't know why the switch is closed. Either we have airflow that we don't want, or there's a blockage, there's something wrong. So you'll notice the Sentry is ramping the fan up and down. And what should happen here is it'll go to high speed and then drop to off completely. So the first thing you're going to want to do with an ASC is just put your hand on the blower motor. Make sure that it's turning off entirely. One of the failures that you'll see as these units get older, and it's not common, but it's one of the ways they do tend to fail, is the fan will fail to turn off properly. And what will happen is you'll put your hand here, and you may not hear the blower running, but you can feel the vibration. If you feel it vibrating continuously, even when it shows a gas input up here of 0, it indicates that your fan is actually going bad. And another way to do this is just to disconnect the low voltage. And if you disconnect the low voltage and all of a sudden the controller goes to an ASO code, that means your fan was still running and it's not supposed to be. So if your fan remains running, so you felt it, you can feel a slight vibration, the next step is going to be to find the low voltage wires. They're down in bottom here. And you're going to look at the black and the red. And what we want to do here is when you have the fan running and it's not supposed to be, possibly this is sending the wrong signal or the blower's receiving the wrong signal. So we're going to go to volts DC. I'm going to set it on my meter to the range of 200, and that's because the signal we're looking for is about 35 to 38 volts. And we're going to verify, try and set this up here so you can see it. We're going to back probe this connector, and usually it's best to use the back of the connector because it's easy to damage these pins. And when things are working correctly, if we see more than 35 volts DC, the Sentry control has told this blower to shut down, and if it fails to turn off, it's a bad blower. If for some reason your Sentry control is sending 12, 15, 20 volts, something less than 35, it indicates that there's something wrong with the Sentry. Now that's an exceptionally rare problem. I've only seen it 2 or 3 times in 20 years, so don't expect that you're going to find that a lot. Most of the time, if you're not seeing a voltage here, either you're checking at the wrong time, or where I've got it trying for ignition, it keeps dropping the voltage to 0 in order to ramp the fan up. Then it brings it back up to 37 to try and turn it off. It's when it's off that you should be checking. In this case, we've diagnosed the Sentry control is actually working fine, and for some reason our combustion blower fan is failing to turn off. At that point, you need a new fan. Now, if your blower is turned off completely, so it's just not running, maybe you've unplugged the low voltage and you're still getting an ASC code, that would indicate that something is holding the air switch closed. Now, you'll want to inspect the setting here, the little black square, and these are adjustable. If somebody's been playing with this and they've adjusted it down to the black square, that actually closes the switch permanently, and you're going to get a problem. So you'll want to make sure that you adjust this dial to where this little arrow points to the number 2 in inches H2O. That is the correct setting and where it must be for safety. You can set it a little higher than that, but you should not set it lower. If you need to set it lower, it often indicates you've got a blocked intake or exhaust and there's a problem there. So make sure that's on the correct setting. Another common cause of an ASC error code is just water builds up in these tubes here. So inspect the tubing, make sure there's no water. You can even take them off, blow through them individually to clear out any water that may have gotten stuck there. Failing the tubing being blocked or the fan failing, at that point you may have an air switch that's stuck in the closed position, and the way to test that is to either turn your boiler off or disconnect both tubes. So we're going to remove both tubes here. We're going to remove the wires, and if I test my air switch when it's just sitting here idle, it should be an open circuit between wire contacts numbers 1 and 3. So number 1 is the middle contact, and in this case number 3 is the contact closest to these ports. So I'm going to adjust my voltmeter over to check for continuity. So we get a beep, we know the meter works, and we're going to test to see if we have continuity here. So in this case, I don't see continuity, so it's an open circuit. You may also notice that because I've unplugged this wire, the Sentry control has gone to an ASO code. What that means is if this wire is disconnected, you should always get an ASO. If you don't, and you're still getting an ASC with this wire removed, this is the white wire from the air switch, it goes to pin 5 here. That means that there's some damage to the Sentry control, so possibly water or something is shorting this out. If it still says ASC and this wire's off like I have it here, you actually do have a bad Sentry control and need to replace that. And again, not very common, but that does tend to happen as these get older, and usually it's due to water damage or something like that. So just be careful when you're doing your inspections. Next up, we're going to plug everything back in. So again, make sure these are on the right contacts, number 1 in the middle, and number 3. It doesn't matter which one the white or the green wires go to, that's not important. So what is important is that these 2 tubes are connected correctly. So this short tube that goes to the branch T needs to go down to the back side of the switch, which is the positive, and then you want to bring your elbow here up to the front of the switch, which is the negative. Now that we've connected that, let's see what our boiler does. So it's now attempted to ignite. What I'm going to do is just reset the boiler to see what it does from a start. What will happen is when you jumper this contact, if you catch it at just the right time, you might actually fool the boiler into trying to fire. So we've actually gone back to an ASC. If you're not sure, just reset it again. Just double click the function button and just see what it does. So we've gone back to an ASC code. What that means is something's holding the air switch closed, and for the purpose of this video, we actually have a fan that's generating some airflow through our unit, and that's why the air switch is closed. The air switch here actually works fine, but in the field, what you might find is, again, if this gets bumped harshly or something, there's a little spring inside that can break loose, and then it'll stick closed. So the 2 most common causes for an ASC, one is the fan is actually going bad, and number 2 is water in the tubing here. The least common is probably some sort of damage to the Sentry control, and less common than that, again, is the air switch itself is bad. So hopefully that helps you with your troubleshooting. If you have any questions, as always, give us a call at tech support 1-800-688-2575. Thanks for watching the video today. If you'd like to check out more videos, see the link below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for all the future updates. And also check us out on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram.